Good morning, adventurers. My name is Ben, and welcome to a morning show where I sit around, drink some tea, and talk about D&D. Oh, that's so hot this morning. Okay. Anyway, getting into it. First things first. News for today. I'm going to combine news in this first string because it's the biggest piece of news that I've found, and I couldn't find any other regular D&D news. There is a Critical Role update, the State of the Role today at noon Eastern Time on their Twitch, YouTube, etc. But supposedly there has been a leak with a lot of the information from that State of the Role update already. I've looked it up. I've looked into it. It seems like it could be a credible source. I'm not going to list it out on here because I don't want to ruin it for anybody in case that is not something you want to check out right now. But the information is supposedly out there right now. So if you are seeing this before State of the Role has happened, go check it out. If that is something you want to do. If you don't want to do it because you're going to find out in like 4 hours anyway, that's also fine. Just supposedly there has been a leak on what a lot of the information is going to be. I'm going to talk more about what they talk about today tomorrow morning, so we'll cover it by this time tomorrow. But if you want to get ahead of it and you want to check it out before they even stream it, supposedly that information is accurate. That is the biggest news. Again, they are streaming that at noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time on their Twitch and YouTube channels, which are the Twitch YouTube, or the Critical Role YouTube channel, or twitch.tv/Critical Role. The only other stream that I know of that is happening today is from the Tabletop Tavern _. So it's twitch.tv/the Tabletop Tavern _ from 8 to 10:30 p.m. tonight. That is run by a good friend of the show, and actually the person who I was creating a character to be connected to yesterday on Good Morning Adventurers, Jenny. It's very exciting. They are getting close to wrapping up that campaign, I'm pretty sure. So go check it out, and if you enjoy it, come back and watch the new one when they launch it. Because I know that they're putting in a lot of good work on that. That is everything for news and streams today for T&D. In honor of the Critical Role thing, I am drinking out of my Caduceus Clay Dead People Tea mug. It is one of my favorite mugs that I have. The other side is the exact same thing. This is just very full, so I'm not going to swing it around a lot. And I am having it is lemon, ginger, peppermint, herbal tea. Yeah, I think that's right. So again, herbal tea, boiling water, 3 to 6 minutes. It's really, really good. This is probably one of my favorites, which is interesting because I don't love peppermint or lemon tea all that much on their own, but together it's really good. With some ginger is also very good. Anyway, moving on from that. Oh, that's so good. I just wanted to toss it out there one more time. Yesterday we didn't gain a whole lot of traction on it, but there's Goonies Never Say Die and all that. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. If we hit 200 before this time tomorrow, October 1st, I will be able to start pushing, or I will go ahead and move forward and start pushing this show as a podcast in addition to this sort of format. That way you can listen to it on your drive to work or listen to it at your desk or whatever you want instead of having to have YouTube open and we're watching it this way, though I do obviously very much appreciate you watching it this way. So share with your friends, share with your family, share with anybody that you think might like it, and let's see if we can't get that number all the way up there. Please, that would be phenomenal. Thank you. That is the end of that plug for now. But moving forward into what we are actually talking about today, it is Thursday, which means it is Third Party Thursday, and today we are talking about Unfamiliar Release the Tiny Beasts. And man, I am excited about this one. This has quickly become one of my absolute favorite third-party supplements, and it might be currently my favorite third-party supplement because it's so fun. So Unfamiliar is a fully functioning 5th edition supplement. It is not like a slight spinoff. It's not a half step away. It's not adjacent. It's nothing like that. This just straight up works in 5th edition, which is super cool. It's like a character guide almost, because what you are doing is you are making a familiar character in Dungeons and Dragons. You can implement them into a standard adventuring party, or you can build an adventuring party out of them all their own, which is super, super cool. It goes through races, classes, backgrounds, spirit type, which we'll obviously talk about in a second here, and it's got specialized feats for the animal races that you can pick from in here. So I am excited. I have loved this thing every time I've opened it. It's so fun. It's so cool. It's kind of crazy, but we'll talk about it in a second here. So let's obviously just go ahead and dive in, shall we? First up, you start off right away in the book with your races of different familiars. Actually, step back. The reason that they have this whole book existing, essentially, which, by the way, it is by... Who's it by? Seltzer. Jerry Joe Seltzer. There we go. Anyway, the reason that this book exists, supposedly, is because there has been a quote-unquote discovery of a spell that releases the familiar of a wizard, whatever kind of spellcaster that has a familiar. It's a 4th level spell. That's a conjuration spell called Liberate Familiar. It's a 1-minute ritual. And in order to cast it, you must have had your familiar for at least 12 years. Once the casting is finished, your familiar is separated from you. They have the ability to stay and hang out if they want, but they are no longer bound to you in the way that a familiar is bound to you. Obviously, DMs, you can just sort of wave your hand at the 12 years thing if it makes more sense, and it doesn't need to be that specifically. I think it's just part of that lore flavor text kind of thing. But right after they talk about the Liberate Familiar, wow. They go into some unfamiliar circumstances, talking about things like mounts, armor, weapons, because obviously as an animalistically shaped individual, you can't use some normal armor and weapons. So they just talk about making armor to fit, making weapons that can work without opposable thumbs, and that sort of thing. But moving forward, you get to your races. This is where I was actually going for when I said we were going to start. So there's a bunch of different races in here that can actually run the majority of the gamut for the ones that you could want, and if not, it sort of lets you fill in the gaps between them if you want to. So the races that you've got are your bat, bird of prey, so you could have falcon, eagle, owl, something like that. Cat, crab, dog, frog, lizard, mustelid, which are ferrets/weasels, otters, badgers, that sort of thing. Rabbit, raven, rodent, snake, spider, and turtle. All of them have their own specialized characteristics. A lot of them have sub-races. Actually, I am open to the birds of prey right now, and I'm looking at it. It says falcon, hawk, and owl are your sub-race options. The thing about an unfamiliar race is that because you are a smaller thing, your strength, dexterity, and constitution scores are determined by your race entirely. Your wisdom, intelligence, and charisma scores are rolled as normal, but in order to roll your more physical scores, I'm on Birds of Prey right now, so that's just going to be the one that we look at. Strength score for Bird of Prey, you roll 3d4 and drop the lowest. Your dexterity score, you roll 6d4 and drop the lowest. And constitution score, you roll 4d4 and drop the lowest. So it's going to be a lower score overall, with the exception for this one of your constitution score, where you have the ability, theoretically, to get all the way up to a 20 if you were able to roll 5 4s out of that. And that's relatively consistent. There's always one of them that will get you way up there, but pretty consistently that strength score is one of your lower ones. But that's just how it goes. You're obviously a bird or something, or a crab or something. Each subrace comes with an ability score improvement as well, over over having a racial ability score improvement as a whole. And these ones make a good amount of sense. If you wanted to use Tasha's rules with it, you also are welcome to do that, more than likely. But you also get your size and your speed. Most of the time, your size with these things is going to be tiny. I think there is like 1 or 2 of them where you are not tiny, but for the most part, you will be tiny. And most of your speeds, you will have some kind of a specialized speed as well. So obviously, like bird of prey, you'll have flying. Frog, you'll have swimming. That sort of thing. Some of them are dependent on your subclass or your sub race as well. But you get a bunch of miscellaneous features other than that. Also, a lot of them are connected to your race, and then there are more of them that then are connected to your subrace. It's kind of like building yourself an animal character, which is exactly what you're doing, obviously. And the art in this book is so pretty. It's so fun. Like, I love it so much. Obviously, I'm on the lizard page right now. But moving forward, oh, here you go. Actually, this one is fun. This is a good example of like a raven. It's just fun. Like, this is a good example of how you would need to get custom armor built, and how normal weapons don't necessarily always work for you. Anyway, moving forward to our spirit type. This is something different, obviously, from what your core races from D&D are going to actually offer you. Spirit type. You are a familiar, obviously, and so you are not from the material plane necessarily, though when you become an unfamiliar, your home plane becomes the familiar, the material plane. Wow, I sort of lost that one. But you retain some of the benefits of your original plane. So you have 3 different spirit types to choose from. You've got your Celestial, your Fey, and your Fiend. Each of them gives you something different, and it is up to you to decide when you create this character. Celestial, the requirements for them are different things. Like, Celestial is any non-evil character, but if you don't really use alignment, then it doesn't really matter. Celestial gives you a +2 to Wisdom. It gives you a bonus language of Celestial, and you get the feature Boosted Healing, which allows all healing spells that you cast to restore 1 additional hit point per die rolled. And when you are the target of a healing spell, you heal 1 additional hit point per die rolled. So this is good for healers or frontliners, even if you are up front and you are getting healed a lot. There is the Fey, which any non-lawful alignment, again, take it or leave it. That is a +2 Charisma. Bonus language is Sylvan. And Fey resistance, you have advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic can't put you to sleep. Pretty standard one there. Fiend is any non-good alignment, which again, take it or leave it. Your intelligence goes up by 2, and your bonus language is either Abyssal or Infernal. Fiendish magic is the extra feature you get here, where you know Thaumaturgy cantrip, and when you reach 3rd level, you can cast the Hellish Rebuke spell as a 2nd level spell once with this trait, and regain the ability to do so when you finish a short or long rest. So it's kind of like the Tiefling racial ability from there. Moving forward from our races and spirit, we end up in our classes. Now, I said before that this is a fully functioning 5th edition supplement. You can use all of the base classes for it. They have some of them listed in here that are they're built specifically to be used as small animals, because obviously you could run into some issues if one of your class features originally sort of assumes or implies that you have hands, for lack of a better way to say that. So they have some of the classes sort of ported over because they've got let's see, 6 of the classes that have been ported over. They are their own thing, but they very much closely mimic some of the ones that are in there normally. But I also want to show you guys this because this is some of my favorite art in the entire book. It's just this bat hugging a lute down here. Obviously, there is also this cat that's just hanging out and doing his thing. But this bat that's hugging a lute is so cute. Anyway, our classes. First one up is the Alpha. It's essentially a fighter. You get your action surge. You get your second wind. You get your things like that. It's the one that gets all the extra attacks and stuff like that. But it is built specifically to be for animals. You also get, let's see, there are subclasses that go with every one of these classes. In this one, it looks like there are 3 different subclasses, which is cool. And I think there's 3 for every single one of these, which is helpful because then you're not just sort of like trapped into one thing. You do get a little bit of an option. Following the Alpha is the Entertainer, which is, you guessed it, a bard port. You get full spellcasting. You get bardic inspiration in the form of Show Must Go On, which is the same thing. You get counter charm. You get all kinds of stuff like that, including jack of all trades and expertise as well. Again, 3 different subclasses for this one. Next up is the Harbinger, which is a cleric-ish port over. You get Channel Divinity in this form of Soul Flare. You get Destroy Undead, Turn Undead, that sort of thing. You pick your Spiritual Path first thing. It's just, again, 3 different subclasses. This one just sort of is a little bit more nature-based just because you are an animal type of, person. Again, quick art plug. Look at this ferret going crazy. It's a lot of fun. If I haven't made it clear already, I really like the art in this book. Following your Harbinger is the Sage, which is a wizard port over. You get your wizard stuff. You get your, signature spells is really the biggest wizard thing that happens because they are so well broken up. But again, you get all this different. Wow, words are really kind of escaping me this morning. You get 3 different subclasses out of it. Again, look at the turtle man. He's so much fun. He's having a good time reading his book. But actually, I really like this one here because one of the subclasses is Portalist. And so they did a full-page spread that involved a rabbit going through a portal, which I think is pretty cool. Not really the important part of that whole page, but it's fine. After Sage is Scout, which is your rogue port over, which, again, the big thing here is you get your sneak attack. You get a lot of the other things too, but it's really, if you don't get sneak attack, it's not a rogue port. Again, 3 different subclasses on this one. None of the art is overwhelming for that one. It's like more of full spreads that are more general, but still good art. And the last one they have is a Shifter, which is actually a barbarian-ish subclass. I say it's barbarian because you get something called Beast Mode, which is equivalent to Rage, which gives you similar damage modifiers and everything like that. Plus, you get Brutal Critical. You get all kinds of stuff like that. But you also get the Shape Shift feature, which is like the Path of the Beast barbarian kind of stuff, where you like gain animal features as well, even though you already are an animal. Here, this is the best picture in the book for me to help just sort of illustrate this. This is a beast mode. This is a badger in beast mode. There we go. He's got wings and a turtle shell on right now. So that's what you're kind of working with. Still super cool. I like it a lot. You've got again, 3 different subclasses you can work with. And that is the end of our classes. Obviously, you could go into more detail on all the classes, but that's what you're working with. Finally, you come to your backgrounds, which is obviously the last piece, really, of building a character. But these are backgrounds that are built specifically for familiars, and they come with, each of them comes with one special spell that has been written for this. All of them are cantrips, because you're an inherently magical being. You can cast spells a little bit. We're not going to like sit here and go through each and every one of them in depth, because that would take too long. But you've got things that sort of run the full spectrum here. You've got pet, you've got abandoned, you've got battle buddy, caregiver, lab subject, messenger, assistant, anything like that. Anything that you could think that a wizard's familiar might fill is what you are sort of given to choose from here. I would say you don't necessarily have to touch these backgrounds if you don't want to, but I would highly suggest it if you are going to be operating on one of these races, simply by nature of what they are. And it really sort of helps ground you as one of these animal races, one of these familiar races. The last part of this book covers feats that are specific to unfamiliar races. Every single one of them has the prerequisite of unfamiliar race. Some of them have another little thing, like you have to be able to, you have to have 4 legs or more, or something like that. But they're little extra things that are available to you. Obviously, again, you can take all your normal feats, but these are built specifically for you. I'll just read one of them off here. Let's go. Nervous anticipation, prerequisite unfamiliar race. Being unnaturally on alert to anything that might want to harm you, you gain the following benefits. Your wisdom score increases by 1 to a maximum of 20. And as a reaction, when a successful melee attack is made against you, but before the result of the melee attack is announced, you can choose to move 5 feet to an unoccupied space. If the attacker could not reach that space with their attack, the attack becomes a mist. Once used, this ability cannot be used again until you've had a short rest. So, little things like that, right? Like that might be good for like your rabbit scout. Yes, scout is the rogue port. If that is something you are looking at. So, once again, this is Unfamiliar. This book is so fun. I love it. I think this is, again, quickly become one of my absolute favorites. I'm really excited to get to run this at some point here, either as a one-shot or as a slightly longer game. I think it's going to be super, super cool. And, I mean, everybody wants pets in D&D. Who doesn't want to be their pets in D&D, right? Anyway, I'm going to find the link to this book. I'll put it in the description of this video if you want to find it to check it out for yourself. So, that is everything that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for making me part of your morning routine. I really, really appreciate it. Once again, if we can hit 200 subscribers by tomorrow, I will go ahead and I will start pushing all of this stuff out as a podcast in addition to the normal video format. Oh, okay, we've cooled down a little bit. I was nervous about that one. So, thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much to my patrons who are the ones who make this show possible. If you're able to and you want to support the show, the link to my Patreon is in the description below. But, like I said, that is everything I have for you guys today. So, until next time, which is tomorrow, thank you so much, and keep on rolling.